Hi, welcome to the Books Point Sheep's Head fanside decal, and I have started this and already done a few. This is what it will look like with the dark blue gimp going around, although obviously white on white is the traditional method. If you are starting this from new, these pairs coming in would be effectively on temporary pairs, and when you lay the gimp along through them, you would just drop them down so that it sat on the gimp and you would start this ground. That's the point I'm at, actually starting, coming through the gimp and starting the sheep's head. On the outside, the head side, sorry, it looks like I've got two pairs of passives, but I've actually got one pair of passives and the other one becomes a worker. It should be two pairs, but my thread is thick. This pair is the pair that has made this jump here from the bottom corner of the previous one. It's gone round, done a stitch, and now it's coming back into the ground through the gimp to make the first pin of the honeycomb. So I've got two twists on the worker pair coming in. The worker pair becomes a ground pair. So I'll lift the left, throw the gimp through, put the left back down on the left, and just give it a twist into the ground. I'm going to be doing one twist on the inside of the gimp and two twists on the outside of the gimp just to be consistent. And on the other side, I'll do the same thing, lift the left, chuck it over, give it a twist. Now these two will become that top point there. So honeycomb, half stitch and twist. And half stitch and twist to close. That's the first stitch. So you can see your gimp thread is now secured. I will go to the left first because basically that's the easiest side. And what we need to do here is this gimp thread, which is going to run down there, that thin line without any dots on. I'm going to work through to this line here. I'm going to be working on this diagonal. I'm not going to be jumping about side to side. I'm going to just keep to the diagonal. I personally find it easier that way. So lift the left, chuck it over, and a twist. Next pair down, lift the left, chuck it over, close it. Lift the left, chuck it over, close it. Lift the left, chuck it over, close it. And if you hold your threads to see where they go, the same as torsion, which is a 45-degree ground, this is more of a sloping angle, maybe a 60-degree ground, you can still see that you have got the right threads for the right amount of lines that you're going to do. So I won't need this one until I actually get down to that bottom. So that they will do for now. And I will use this. See where you've made that first stitch? The right hand one goes down the right hand side. This stitch is ready to present at the next hole. That's ready to present at that hole. Come on, blue thread, don't stop the view. There you go. That will go down that line. Okay, let's tie some. Let's make it show. Don't forget your tensions. Still doing the same honeycomb stitch all the way down on every dot, every pinhole. And it's just half stitch and twist, half stitch and twist. I'll shove that up a bit further and make that obvious. Right, here we go. Let's see if we can make it more obvious. These two, half stitch and twist, so that you end up with these crossing and two twists on each pair. That's your standard for your honeycomb. Pop your pin in, close with the same half stitch and twist. There we go. So I can leave that to one side now. Pull these down. That's that diagonal done, as you can see. I'll be working from this end, so let's pull these down now. The worker pair that we came through with has ended up in the ground, so we don't have a worker pair anymore, but I'm going to use the inside of the two passives to make the next picot. I'll show you why. If you look at this here, you could, oh, these blue threads like to be in the way, don't they? This is my next honeycomb stitch. That isn't my next picot. Now the temptation is to go and do that next honeycomb stitch, but if you look at it this way, that picot is higher up the page than this. So you really need to work that one first, because if you don't, you'll be here, you'll go up, there's nowhere for that to go, because you need it to come in and go out to do this one before you can do this one. So you have to do that high one first. And the only way to do that is to use, remember I've got one passive pair short. There would be two passive pairs. This would be the third spare pair. So I'm going to work through in a cloth stitch. Throw a very quick picot on. This is thick thread, so it tends to take a bit of tugging, so be more gentle with your own work. There we go, that's a picot on, and back through there, back through the passive with a cloth stitch. I now have one pair of passives, one working pair. I'll put a two twist on that, that's a working pair. Lift the left, throw it over and put a twist on. This will now, this worker pair, will now work this inside stitch, half stitch and twist there, pin, half stitch and twist. That's another of the honeycomb lozenge done. Now this will go down to the next stitch, this one will go out to this, make a picot, and then come back in again. So this pair is zigzagging in and out to marry with this one to make that stitch there. So take it through, oops, no, you don't do that. You lift the left, chuck it over, put your two twists on, and do your passive in a cloth stitch, do your picot, cloth stitch back through the passive, put your two twists on, lift the left, chuck it over the right, drop the left on, still on the left, and put your twist on. Work that passive, your honeycomb that's waiting to be worked at that stitch. Half stitch and twist, pin, half stitch and twist. There you go. This is ready to come back out, so lift the left, chuck it over, put your two twists on. Make your picot. And I'm going to come through, and that is ready for the next work it wants to do, so I'll put those to one side. This can't go anywhere now because that's my next honeycomb stitch and I haven't got this side ready to come down. So I'll pop that to one side. On this side, you can see that these are coming to, this is the next diagonal row, and on the next diagonal row you just have that one there and this one here. You're working alternates because the stitch in the middle is missing. That has got them on all, this is alternates. So we're just sort of crossing the legs. Half stitch and twist, pin, half stitch and twist, half stitch and twist, pin. Try putting it in the right pinhole. Where are we going to put that pin? There we go, in the right pinhole. Right, half stitch and twist. So that's that diagonal made, and you can see at this point you do have the two going the right way. So that works. Tick. Because we've now got this corner one done, we can now go down to this point, so I can bring this pair down. This has already got its 2 twists on ready, so I'm going to half stitch and twist. Again, I'm going to work this whole row as a diagonal. The side will be done when I've done the diagonal. This doesn't need any more side done yet. Half stitch and twist, and you can see this is making a triangle there. Half stitch and twist, half stitch and twist. Bring down the other 2 pairs from the next, and again half stitch and twist. This makes the point of this lozenge. Half stitch and twist. These 2, as you can see by this fine line here, have to go through the gimp before it can do anything else, but that isn't needed right now this very minute. You can see that they are going the right way. You've taken the right amount of pairs out, so I'm going to pin those and they can wait. I'm concentrating on the sheep's head rather than the ground. So I've got these 3. I'm looking at it. Yes, there's another triangle here, so I'll just pop that in. Half stitch and twist, half stitch and twist, and again that gives me a pair that doesn't need to go in, that comes out through the gimp. Its next stitch will be on the other side of the gimp, so I don't need it yet, and this one will make that one there. You can see where the lines are going to go. So let's tip that out of the way. Now then, we've got a bit of side wrangling to do here. So this is my worker, this is my gimp, this is my ground stitch, and this ground stitch wants to work this here. So again, put my 2 twists on the worker, lift the left, tuck it through, twist it, and work that half stitch and twist for the next there. Half stitch and twist. Lovely, that works, and I'll take the worker back out. Left the left, chuck it under, and twist. No, it's 2 twists, isn't it? Right. Through the passive, twist, twist, twist. Do my picot on the edge. I do tend to be a bit enthusiastic, but when you're pulling your gimp threads, tensioning your gimp threads, because you have to make sure that you haven't got little loops ruckled up, there is a danger that because nothing's actually holding it, it's not twisting in and out, it's only being held in place, that the previous junctions can be pulled out of shape. So do be aware that when you're tensioning this, your gimp thread, that you're not dragging it unevenly here or even at a point on a previous piece, because that thread goes all the way down there, crosses and then comes down here. So if I'm yanking at this one here, I can distort that pin there and drag the gimp up into the ground. I'm only mentioning this because I'm an enthusiastic tensioner. So I've put a little ghost pin in just below the other pin. I haven't made it into a pin ground, I've just literally popped it on. I'll show you on this one. You see, these are your actual pins, these are your actual ground, and I just pop a ghost pin there just for this gimp to go round. I don't want it out here, I don't want a big loop here, but I just put it there so that when I'm tensioning it, I'm not going and really scraping that corner. It's just a little hint. It's not actually a thing. It's only if you're heavy-handed like I am. It's just handy. Right, so that's gone round the picot. So I'm coming back through the passives. Twist, twist, lift the left, chuck the gimp through, drop the left on the left, and put my twist on. And I'm working this last one on the edge here. Half stitch and twist. Put the pin in. Half stitch and twist. There we go. And while I'm here, I'll just finish this, because you can see now that the 2 that we've left out just fit nicely to complete the actual honeycomb ground. So half stitch and twist, half stitch and twist to close. There we go, our honeycombs are finished. So this obviously goes that way, this will go that way. I will lift the left and throw the gimp through and put my twist on and make that picot there. This is very thick thread, it's not ideal for picots, I can tell you. This is the one that's starting to come downhill into the valley. There we go. Now the next one, this pin here, is going to be this pair. You can see how it's continuing this line. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through the gimp, through both pairs here, and then return. So it will, this one goes to here, and then it will come back in here. But in the meantime, we'll need to cross the gimps here. So just wait for the magic to happen. So it's got its twists. It maybe doesn't even need that many twists, but I'll leave them on. Lift the left, chuck it through, give it a twist. And then I'm going through both pairs in a cloth stitch. And instead of a picot, this time I choose to do just a 2 twists round a pin. Because deep in the valley there, sometimes a picot can look a bit squashed because there's a lot of thread going on there. So I'll take that ground pair back through that worker in a cloth stitch, back through that worker in a cloth stitch, give it its twists, lift the left, no, don't jump ahead, we've got to cross these, so okay, that's ready for it. And on this side, pull these down, and these are waiting. Now this is where I'm just going to pop myself a little ghost pin. Just at the very end, there's the pin, and that's the next pin. I'm just doing it a tiny distance, maybe a pin or two away, just to hold that so that when I'm tensioning, this is going to stop it riding up. You shouldn't need that, you should be able to control your tension better than that. Right, I'm going to take this through all these along here because I need to follow that line there. But these are all nicely ready in a row for me to go through. Instead of doing them one at a time, I like to do them in a row. So lift the left, throw it over and put your twist on. Lift the left, throw it over, put your twist. Lift the left, throw it over, put your twist. Lift the left, throw it over, put your twist. Lift the left, throw it over, put your twist. There you go. They're all nice and neat there. They're all ready to go into this Buck's Point ground. So we've now got the 2 gimps meeting at the same place. Now again, if you've just started the first one, you would have hung it around a pin. With this one, you need to cross it. Now you can either cross right over left or left over right, as long as you're consistent. I don't know why you have to be consistent. Maybe it's something to do with the way the lace twists afterwards or something, but consistency is key. So I'm going to do the outside one over the inside one, or left over right. That's how I'm going to do it. And the only reason that I'm putting myself a little ghost pin in, which isn't called for, I'm putting it on the cross, just so that it keeps it to that shape. And these pins are only support pins. You could call them temporary pins, but they're not actually meant to be there. They're not introducing new ones. They can come out when you feel you've gone far enough not to be over tensioning. If you're a nice gentle tensioner and you don't have a problem, you certainly don't need these. They are not a standard Buck's Point necessity. And we now have that row, and we're ready to start the next sheep's head. So we've got this one coming that's come from that valley point there. It wants to come into the ground here, so I'm going to lift the left, chuck it over and close it. Okay, that's ready. And this one here that's come from the outside is going to go down this way. So I can't actually do that yet. I need to do a row of ground. So we'll just quickly throw in a row of ground. And this is where I forget how many twists everything needs. So starting on the outside of the line, all these, this is buck's point ground. So we're back to the half stitch and 2 twists. Pin and don't close it. Half stitch and 2 twists. Don't close it. Half stitch and 2 twists. Have I done enough there? Hang on a minute. Half stitch and 2 twists. I'm saying that for the video. What I do is I do 1, 2, 3. That's how I count it for myself. But you end up with 3 twists on. So however you want to remember it yourself, that's how you get it done. There's a lot of ground to be done in buck's point. Okay, so I now have one ready to come into this ground. Obviously all these buck's point things need to be done before you can bring this gimp in again and finish another one, but I'll just actually get to the point where you've gone into the ground. So with this one, lift the left, throw it through, and you can see now when this ground is done, worked, you will be coming through this gimp pair here and starting to do exactly the same thing here. So we'll set it up at the very top with this first pair. So, oops, here's a twist on. Half stitch and, let's get this right, half stitch and twist. Pin in that very top one. And you can see the pattern starting again. Half stitch and twist to close it. That's your first top of the honeycomb. This thread will obviously come down and you'll work down this diagonal here. So I'll put that to one side. I'm not going to do that. But here, you've got the picot up in the air and the first dot that wants to go to lower. So you have to do this. Use your inside passive, go through, cloth stitch through, make that picot there. Back through the passive. This is the same thing I did up at the top. This is a reminder. Put the twists on, go through the gimp, lift the left, put a twist on. Half stitch and twist in the honeycomb ground. Do that first corner of the lozenge. Half stitch and twist. There you go. And this works back out again because we're now back to the standard 1 pair. You would normally be doing 2 pairs, but my thread is rather thick. Lift the left, chuck it over, close it, work your passive, work your next picot. Back through that passive. Oh, you see I enthusiastically tensioned then, and you can see the line of the pull there, and the fact that that pin is moving. Yes, I am a bit heavy-handed, I do apologise, but you do get used to it. You find your own ways round the way you make lace. So I'm going to put my 2 twists on, bring my worker pair back through, put a twist on, and it's ready to make that next half stitch and twist. I'm going to leave it here at this point, half stitch and twist, and that is ready to come in and close. But I can't do anything else until I've worked all this ground and brought all these other pairs down. So these are all in place for there, and this next batch, if I let this next batch down, when I've done this ground, will all be in a row to do that. But what I will do is I will work all this ground, and I will continue to work all this ground along the line as far as I can go, along a line just before the gimp is added. So that section can all be worked in one go, and then you set up to nicely make your next sheep's head, and then just rinse and repeat. For actual proper Bucks Point lace makers, my apologies. I am learning Bucks Point as I'm doing these videos. This is the last stitch we were done. The next one is plum pudding, which is a very similar type of thing, just bigger. But I hope this helps you get through the sheep's head, and don't shout at me if the twists are in the wrong place, or, you know, I'm just learning, same as the rest of us in the group. Okay, happy sheep's heading! Bye for now.